Hi everyone. Sorry for the fuzzy, grainy video. I'm in some low lighting, but I really wanted to take a moment to walk you through the Variety of Feminisms refresher case study. So the intention behind this assignment is to give you an opportunity to practice some open pedagogy. Um, in particular, this is a form of anti racist and equitable pedagogy and assessment. And so you all kind of take control of the reins here. And not only are you, um, choosing your own topic, choosing your own group, choosing how you're going to approach um, this assessment. Um, Choosing also the weights and how you're going to be graded for the presentation, but you're also hopefully creating some material that might be used in the future, which is what makes it open pedagogy because it would be free to access for other learners. For example, your annotated bibliography could be used in the future for students as a source of materials and resources. So, just to clarify, total, you have about 3 assignments that are related to this. None of them are really killer. And I think the most complicated one might be the presentation. Um, but I'm hoping to show you that it's not that complex, and that you don't need to work synchronously. Everything is asynchronous, and that you can actually make a really nice little presentation, similarly to how I create your slides and videos each week using Canva. You could also use Google Slides in this way, or you could use Microsoft PowerPoint asynchronously to individually contribute not only to a document but also to a slide deck at different times and across time zones and everything. So um, now I just want to talk to you about some of the resources that are available right now in the module. You have the details and guidelines about this project. You have some group work tips. Um, you have the actual reading there as well that you're using to choose a variety of feminism to refresh or revamp. And then this really tiny, pretty easy contract activity that I'll walk you through as well. You also have some resources that are provided, and a template for your annotated bibliography, and a template that's coming for your presentation slides that you can choose to use or not use. Same thing for the annotated bibliography template. That's up to you whether you use it or not. So if you click on that first page in the Variety Refresher module, you'll see details and guidelines. And so the first thing I want you to know is that you only have 3 deliverables or things that have to be submitted. And you have a lot of time to submit 2 of those, right? You have until the last day of class or December the 15th to submit the 2 parts of the project that carry the most weight, right? So over 6 weeks left to do that. So the first thing is the group contract activity. And this is totally, you know, um, a kind of worksheet that is meant to be a tool to help your group function. It's where you all get to decide on expectations, um, how you're going to communicate with one another, how you're going to get feedback, whether you want to have individual grades or a group grade for the presentation, and also how your categories on your rubric are going to be weighted. And I give you a little bit of credit for completing this activity, 2%. And so all you got to do is do it. And at the end, you get to sign it and date it and everything. And then just one person needs to submit that contract for your entire group. But you're probably wondering, how do I come up with a group, right, to even do that contract activity? I'm going to walk you through some steps to how to find a group and join a group. And also, I want to encourage you as well, if there's a topic that you're really interested in, to reach out to others and see if anyone else is interested as well. But I'll hold for a moment because I want to discuss those two other deliverables. So the two other things that you're going to deliver are going to be an annotated bibliography, 10 annotations, and I'll show you what an annotated bibliography looks like in a moment. Um, and that's for 8% of the 20% percentage points that have been allocated for this assessment. Um, and you're going to submit that presentation video where you basically, as a group, but individually, slide by slide, um, discuss like what you thought would make good like edits, um, and refreshers or remix for the variety of feminism that you chose. All right, so 3 things to submit. The first one is due at the latest November the 11th. So you've got almost 2 weeks before that's due. Um, and you can turn it in early, of course. I always love that. Um, and then the annotated bibliography and presentation are going to be due on December the 15th. I will give you some optional submissions as well if anyone wants to like run their proposed like action plan by me as a group, or even as an individual. I'll make a little submission portal where you can submit things for me to look at. Okay, so how do you find a group? You're going to start by heading over to People in the left menu, right over to the left, probably hovering over my head somewhere. And there you're going to be able to see all of the groups and join the group that reflects your interests. And so let me head on over there, act like I just clicked on People, and I'll show you what you will see and what you need to click on to get to the actual groups for this. So when you initially arrive on the People page of the site, you're going to see a list of everyone. Literally, it says everyone on the first tab, um, of everyone in the class. This is not how you find your group. You'll find your group by clicking on the tab that's right next to everyone that says Variety Refresher. So click on that tab, and then you'll be able to see all of the available groups, right? There are 12 available groups, each one centering around a particular type of feminism, according to Judith Lorber, the author of the article that has been assigned for this. So you can either choose to join a group that's already in existence if it's not full, or you can take a look, see that there might be something that you really want to work on, but no one has expressed interest, and perhaps go into Pronto or the Canvas inbox, or if you all have your own like group messaging platform of some sort there, and ask like, hey, is anybody else interested in working on such and such with me? I know people don't love group work. I get it. That's why a lot of what you're doing is going to be web-based in the cloud, and using platforms where there's some really obvious tracking. And so, for example, I'm asking that you complete your annotated bibliography in Google Docs, and that way we can see a timeline of all of the edits, all of the changes, everything that's been done by each individual. Okay, and so that's there as an accountability tool for every member of the group. If somebody falls off, they don't do their part, they don't submit whatever, was um, agreed upon in the beginning, I'll take that into consideration. I still want a full, like, treatment of the variety that you've chosen so that it can still be a useful pedagogical tool for someone else in the future. But I will understand if you weren't able to, do as much as perhaps a group of 4 because you got whittled down to a group of 3 or 2. Okay. The same for the presentation, and that's why you really get that option to decide whether your presentation is going to be graded individually or as a group, right? The weights that are decided upon, and I'll show you this in the contract in a moment, that isn't really up for discussion once it's decided on, but um, those weights will be applied to each individual if you choose individual grading. Um, Regardless of how you structure your group and how you split things up, only one person from each group needs to submit any of the 3 deliverables. And once you submit, it'll submit it for everyone in your group that has joined your group. All right, so now let's go back out to the module, and now we're going to click on the contract activity. All right, so here's where you're both able to download the contract activity um, and upload it to Google Docs, or to click on the link and make a copy from Google Docs. So you'll see what is included here in this group contract activity. The template's already there. You can fill it in however you all want to. I do suggest that everyone puts their eyes on this and provides some input, some notes, some ideas, some comments, or something there. I want to see evidence of every person's input there. It doesn't have to be at the same time. Remember, it's asynchronous. Just set some expectations for when people will be done with it, just to make sure you can submit it on time. When you're done, you're going to hit share. And when you click share in Google Docs, you're going to choose anybody with the link can comment. Copy that link, and then you'll submit it right back here in Canvas, and that way I'll have access to it, and everyone in your group should have access to it. Here you'll also be able to see the rubric that I'm using to grade these. It might need a couple of edits. It might have some typos because this is a similar rubric to what I use for my race and ethnic inequality course. But you can see that you have all these optional weights for how you'll grade it, and that you'll need to decide on the balance of weights that you want. If your group doesn't decide, then I'll put in some generic balance here that pretty much evenly distributes the weights. At the bottom, and this is really important, and into the next page, you'll see that the rubric looks at your presentation grade, and that I'll need for you to mark or highlight or circle or whatever you're going to do, whether your group has decided on a group assessment for the presentation or an individual assessment. Right? And in the last pages of the contract, you're going to want to go ahead and sign and everything and hold everyone true. Fill out as much as of the contract as you possibly can. I know that for some things I list like you need 4 to 7 rules or expectations or whatever. Just break it down, simplify it so that you get at least 4. You're not going to get dinged on this for getting less than 4. I just want you to make sure that you have all of the different things that I've listed on this checklist included when it's submitted. And with 4 people in a group, you should be able to accomplish this. You should be able to fill in the whole thing. So let's go back out again, back to the main module for the variety refreshers. And then I want you to click on the annotated bibliography template and submission page. So the last thing I want to show you is this template that I've provided for your group annotated bibliography. So an annotated bibliography is usually the first step towards writing a literature review or writing a research paper. It's a way of organizing the sources that you're going to use to argue a point, right? And so for your annotated bibliography, you're going to be including some really key sources to cover the update that you're making to your variety. So in the template, you have some explanations concerning like how to use the template, what is expected when you're writing an annotation, and so on and so forth. So you can see there's a lot of highlighting. That's where I'm giving you instruction. And it looks like this here because I've downloaded it as a Word doc or as a PDF, sorry. But it'll look a bit different if you are using it in Google Docs, um, which is where you're supposed to submit it ultimately. So you might as well, like I said, work on it in Google Docs as well. So you have that train of um, receipts, basically, of who did what, when, where, why, and how. Well, the why and the how won't really be there, but you know what I mean. So for an annotated bibliography, you're going to be turning in 10 of these little short narratives about the sources that are the most convincing. This is your written research for this class. Um, so just a little background. For Social 15, there's a 1,500 word research requirement for each student. And we are going to be tackling that by splitting that up into 10 annotations of 150 words or more. Brilliant. And we'll split it up even more by making it a group activity. And so I wanted this to be as painless as possible because I know that you're not all sociology majors and that you perhaps haven't done research in sociology in the past. Um, and so this is a introduction into one of the beginning um, steps of writing research as a sociologist. So here you can see that you start off with a citation for each of your annotations of that source. And so I've provided some examples here. Then you're going to have a little summary there, right? You're going to highlight, what was the point of the source, um, give a little critique and evaluation of the source. And then I think this is the most important thing. How does the source relate to your argument or to your topic, right? How are you going to use it or how will your group use it? And so again, 10 of these across 4 people is about 2.5 each. You all can kind of figure out the math and who's going to pick up some slack somewhere else. At the end, you'll also do a reference list of all of the references only without the annotations as well. All right, so that's it for right now. Next, you'll be receiving a little introduction to how to use Canva. And then finally, you'll get your PowerPoint sorry, not PowerPoint. We don't use PowerPoint, but I'll give you a slide deck template to use as well. All right. I hope this helps. If you have further questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Thanks. Bye.